Good afternoon, everybody. As Ryan said, I do a lot of work in prisons, so a couple of these poems I'm going to read today spur from my experiences in Rikers Island Jail in New York City and Queens. And a few others are not even remotely related to that at all. But they're all some sort of witness. Actually, the three visitations of Ray Jasper is a literal witness poem. I went to a vigil, execution vigil, the day he was executed, and we were standing there in front of the Capitol. And someone leaned over to me and just mentioned, it's like 6:30. By this point, Ray Jasper is dead. That was kind of a weighty sort of thing to have. Happened to sit there and realize, that at this moment, or at least a few minutes prior, someone just expired. Even though people expire all the time, happening every moment of the day, to be aware of that was something pretty harrowing and kind of poignant. So I went home, and the next day I sat down and I wrote this poem. And I rearranged it a couple of times, and I sent it off to Texas Borderlands, and luckily they were gracious enough to accept it. So this is the three visitations of Ray Jasper. March 19th, 2014, 6:31 CDT. 1. This happened after the fact. After the procession, after the phone's last refusal, after final things were spoken, final sights taken in. After the needle was secured, the valves released. After his eyes left the room and their eyes lingered. After his heart loosened. After the straps undid. After they wheeled out the table and it caught on one of the gates and jounced, and the man laying on it, an arm spilled out from under the sheet, and one guard said to the other, "Is he really dead or just playing?" And after, how when he had nothing to say to that, they tucked his hand gingerly back into place. How they noticed the nails were spotless. How they marked the congregation of dried blood at the crook of his elbow. How for days after, one guard remarked to the other that he could not flush the scent of thiopental garlic from his tongue. 2. The first took from him his wristwatch, said it was the first of 23 too late blessings. Then he caged the low sun in window mesh, strung flypaper to restrain time, transmuted seconds into lice, and picked them louse by louse from the concrete and crushed them into a healing mash. The second said he knew the hour of his death and would keep it safe, and to show good intentions, peeled hours and minutes from his scalp, crumbled them to dust motes, and fed the nutted sun. The third told him that he was a small slice of a great deal of money. Just by breathing and eating and existing, he had become a very expensive man. He pressed a coin into his palm, long overdue salary. It had no face but its own, but owned 100 different faces every year. They took from him his years, took from him his paperbacks, radio, bubblegum, pens, slippers, ruled paper, 4 other identifying articles that cluttered his cinder block cell, which was formerly a 30-something-year-old man piled atop an 18-year-old boy. 3. The earth does not pause. Clock bells still detonate the hour. There is a lingering, like air settling in lungs after a cough. For a few clanging moments, the world retains an unaccounted-for weight. Just an ounce, maybe 2, as if some butcher has neglected to lift his thumb from the scale. Witness has always been an important part of my poetry, starting with writing poems about the suicide of my grandfather, which has been a really strong through line through a lot of my work up to this date, and then kind of going off onto the Rikers poems, which are taken from a lot of the journals I took when I was doing my bi-weekly, tri-weekly stints as a librarian there. This is a poem that's a bit related to the early poems, sort of the witness of my childhood and connected to my family's. It's called St. Vitus Dance. After Sidney Goodman's Nightburn, it's a painting I saw once and was really taken by. Crazed oil, fire too serene, must be the artifice of old fired clay, creator's living lump. It's damn lucky we didn't turn out thick and tacky semi-godlings. No, ours is watchful dirt, tuned to the expectation that it's all about to explode or crumble or realize its own trick of lifelessness. Used to imagine this house a pot of votive tokens burning down the night, resolving into rattlesticks at dawn, remnants of a fire to be pissed into complacent ashes. What would I haul through the second floor window onto shingles drowned in tar resurrected? Mattress exploding, glass raining, our pets dead in smoke, an armful of burning polyester, a boy indecipherable from his own pajamas. Heat, the way clay tends. This immolating thing makes calm his burning. Feet obliterated, he dances, leaving only behind skin prints over memory, first sticky, then dried out. Even the sky would not remember its true color. Even I cannot recall my own true thoughts. When I was working in Rikers Island Jail, the men, although a lot of them were 18, 19, younger than I was, would kind of clamor around the door and sort of have conversations and stand there, and they'd often come just from the commissary or the mess hall, so they would have food sometimes. And I just remember one day I was standing there, I don't even remember when it was, how far it was into my tenure at the library, but I just remembered seeing these bottles of really bright, almost iridescent pink milk, like that, strawberry milk that we would get in middle school or high school, but that sort of like malleable bottle, and it's kind of cartoonish, and seeing these kids like holding these bottles of strawberry milk in the middle of a prison was kind of startling, a really strange experience for me, and I'm sure definitely for them. So this poem is called Strawberry Milk. It's spurred off of that sight. Tats pinned to skin, painful, so dug in. The old guys, 18 plus, bear old dog scars designed to chain ink to chained skin. For some, the only books they'd wished they'd ever read or written or saw the movie for. Skins books where between pages loitering scraps of paper feed tips to boys fed on baby fat, gaunt as a chance for clemency. Boys like burnt out libraries, sift through them for days, churn up gelded ciphers, incomprehensible tablets, codes cobbled for count, runes ancient before their time, mosaics lacking a tile or two or all. Soft hands practice palmistry on room temperature bottles of Pepto pink milk, decipher labels, the marks of youth. Untranslatable hands, newly old, translate the trick to killing every second before it kills back. Look, Mom, a dagger-pierced skull begs from the back of his small hand. Look here. Ma, are you looking? Ma, look. Thank you very much, everybody.